We're joined by Ryan. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm really well, my friend. How are you keeping, bud?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I'm plodding on as you do. Uh, how you been?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. It's just work. I've just moved house, so
Yeah,
dealing with that, working, the usual stuff, mate. What about you?
yeah. I've been busy bouncing about here, there, and everywhere.
Good
Down here
stuff.
now for good now, I think. So
Are you actually?
yeah, I've moved here for good now. Yeah, yeah. So I'm all right.
Oh, big
So
move,
I've just
that,
changed my
mate.
car insurance. Right, listen to this. An extra 300 quid nearly to what I mean for the sake of 72 mile. It's an
Hmm.
absolute joke, mate. It's postcode lottery in it. Car insurance.
Yeah, that isn't the best, that, mate. In fairness.
No, it's the egg, man. The south you go down, the dearer the beer is, the dearer going shopping is, and
Yeah.
petrol and whatever else. Only good thing about down here, none of the speed cameras work. So that's the only good thing about being down here. But other than that, how are you?
Yeah, mate. Like I say, life's good, mate. I've moved to a nicer area than Bolton, anyway. Well, I'm in Salford, but it's a lot nicer than where I was. So
Yeah.
I can't grumble, mate. I can't grumble at all.
Okay. Uh, a lot going on, so I thought we'd plow into it. But before we start, Big Ron's just pulled his show
Yeah.
on 14th of June. That's next Saturday, is it? I think it's next Saturday. He's pulled that show, rescheduled 19th of July. So I don't think that's a good for the fighters on the show, but they get to have another bite at it. But I'm starting to wonder if his heart's in it, mate. You know what I mean?
Mm. What would be the reason he's done that? Is it tickets? Is it fighters pulling out? What would be the reason?
It's money. Boxing's money in it. You know,
Mm.
if they've not done tickets and they can't cover, if they can't cover the away fighters, say average away fighters, 2.5 grand, yeah,
Yeah,
right. The kiddos, the home fighters, got to sell the tickets to pay for away fighter,
yeah,
put some in the pot, and get some for themselves. So the fighters technically have got to be doing 6 grand in tickets for it to
yeah,
work, right? So if you're doing 6 grand in tickets at 50 quid, you've got to do 10, 20, 60 tickets. 60 tickets at 50 quid just to break it. No, it's more than that, isn't it? It's no, it's 120 tickets because you got to put something in pot, pay it away for it, and you want something for yourself, don't you? And you get a
naturally.
couple of grand for yourself for that. And then you get, you bring your career on and all that. But it's all changed this now. All these ticket deals, that's what's messed the job up.
Yeah,
Because if you're doing loads of tickets and you can't fight, you're going to be a protected fighter, aren't you?
yeah.
They're not going to want you to get beat. They're going to keep you propping
Milk
shows
it.
up like they've been doing with Elmer Fudd.
Mm.
But they got greedy, didn't they? Playing with Rhino, thinking Rhino were finished. And
Yeah.
Rhino just did a full stampede on him, didn't he?
He's everywhere now, any Dave?
Rhino's everywhere. Everybody he's ever sparred, he's spilled his guts up. He's told his life story for the
Yeah,
hundredth time. Operation Rhino 29.6.
yeah.
The good thing about it is, though, Ryan, he put Elmer Fudd on Button Moan and it
This is
shut the
true.
big dad up on it. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well, I seen something about Johnny Fisher seniors. That I seen a video on YouTube the other day. It was only like a short video
Yeah.
where I'm sure like he's saying if you want him to come to parties and all this kind of thing. And I
Want him to come
thought,
to what? Part? Why would
like,
you have him at
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah. There was a
party?
suggest like pay for him and he'll come to your party or he'll do like a speech at your I don't know like at your presentations and
Yeah,
all
I
this
seen
kind of.
that one. He does birthday shout outs for
That's
15
it.
quid for
Yeah.
you, doesn't he? What
I
is all
thought,
that?
why? Like, who's paying for him? Like,
He's
I
got
don't know.
carried away with himself. Look,
Oh, he
Johnny
has.
Fisher Sr., aka Daddy Fudd, go and get a gastric band and save your life because your skin has got that grey, greasy look like where mine used to be. And basically, you're in a bad way. You're close to death. So listen to me before it's too late. And all you people egging him on to eat Chinese, Cantonese, wobbly knees, pie and peas. All
Yeah.
you people doing that to him, you're slowly killing him with love. Okay.
Agreed.
Think so.
Agreed, mate. Agreed.
Do you know what I mean? But like I said, it is what it is, isn't it? So, uh, Rhino and Wilder. Now, the word around the campfire is that they were going to put Fisher in with Wilder if Fisher done Rhino in rematch. Rhino's obviously spoilt the plans now, hasn't he? So Eddie's got him on a two-fight deal. So even if they put him in with Wilder, which is possible, very, very possible from what I'm
Mm.
hearing, and Rhino gets flogged. They've then got an easy one for Joshua, aren't they? Because they can big Wilder up as, oh, he's got his mojo back.
Yeah,
But if
yeah.
Rhino steams Wilder, Wilder's shot to bits, it'll be the resurgence of the Rhino, and Joshua's got another easy one, hasn't he? But Rhino could steam both, couldn't he?
Imagine that.
Imagine him being a fight away, beating Wilder, and then him getting big meat. Oh God, I'd love it.
Someone who's I like Dave Allen, but like
If
someone
he
who's never
clubbed
won
them
a bit.
both, I'm not bothered about Wilder. I'm not. You don't mean not to him, but if he clubbed Big Meech like he done Fisher, I'd streak through Little Aston. We know on, mate. I'd streak it. I'd run quick. I'd run quick.
Make sure the weather's nice as well,
I'd
my
run
mate.
quick. I
Yeah.
won't. I won't run a mile, walk a mile, run a mile, walk a
No.
mile. I'd run really fast all the
I
way.
tell you what, yeah, if he does that, I'll join you.
Right.
Rain, sleet,
Okay.
or
Right.
snow.
Well, that means we don't think it's going to happen, Ryan.
Well, he's never won an English title. So,
If it
like,
happens, will Rhino turn up in a Corrimore body warmer saying, "Oh, I hope to beat Joshua after because I beat Wilder. I hope I can beat Joshua so I can tile my bathroom, or something
I'm
a bit
not very
daft like
good.
that."
I'm not very good. I'm not
I'm
very good.
not that
You know
good,
what?
I hardly train. I eat ice cream all day,
Yeah.
dipping bread in it.
You know what is like frustrating? Like he's what like when I was a kid, I remember like obviously football, and I remember being told that the Germans are the worst winners in the world. Yeah, like Dave Allen's kind of like a German. He's German. He's Germaning it up, like going on and saying about, well, Johnny, he wasn't that good, or like like really breaking down what the problems are with Johnny Fisher, and it's like
Yeah.
we're not Fisher fans, but he's a good kid. He's never done anything wrong. Show a little bit of class. Like, you don't need to comment on that. That's for his trainers and his handlers to assess his performance. It
Mm.
isn't down to Dave Allen to go on Talksport or to any of these channels and outlets to vocalize, well, Johnny Fisher wasn't that good, and he's this and he's that, and he's not an actual. Like, Dave, just take the win and move forward, pal. Like, you don't need to go. It's not very endearing for someone to be. Again, it's very German. The Germans typically aren't very endearing,
Mm.
so I don't
Eddie,
like it.
Eddie now looks a bit two-faced and he really hanging out at back at Lazy Rhino after stabbing him
Completely
in
agree.
the back.
Yeah,
And
completely
and
agree.
we're at Elmer Fudd and his dad, Daddy Fudd. Where are they now, we Eddie? And remember what I said a few months ago? They could end up crossing the street now. And this is what happens in boxing, you see. One minute they're looking at Eddie Hearn as the saviour, and Eddie's like, he's like a little son to me, yeah, little Johnny Fisher Jr. He's like a little son. Now, first you're angry, then you're upset, then you look for somebody to blame, and Eddie will cop it in hero now. But to Eddie, it's water off a duck's back. But to Fuds, it's everything to them, innit?
Yeah,
Because they'll have lost a few sponsors. He'll be on less money now in next fight. He won't be getting. He'll have to go down a bit and then reconsolidate. What I suggest to do is what Dennis did with Clinton Woods. Clinton lost against Dave Starry, and they moved up a weight and regrouped. Now Fisher's got no weight to move up. Could he go down to Bridgerweight? No, I think he's in heavyweight.
yeah,
But they need to regroup. Clinton regrouped, and you go again. Like a 2-year-old little kid in your house, you lad, or your daughter, they fall over at two. They get back up, don't they? They don't really cry. Just get up. They're tough, aren't the kids? When you're a 25-year-old and like that, he's fell down. Can he get back up? Well, we don't know because he's had everything done all his life, hasn't he? He's
yeah.
been to uni, he's had it all his own way. A bit like Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie has had everything done for him all his life. We've never seen Eddie Hearn overcome adversity, have we, Ryan?
Not really, no.
No. So his dad's overcome adversity, but Eddie ain't. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with young Elmer. But
Yeah.
it's boxing, isn't it? I'm glad he got beat. Anyway, I was sick to death. are seeing this stupidness and Bosh and Romford Bull and all this Chinese food and all that. And to be honest with Gareth A. Davis, he's never going to be on my Christmas card list. But I thought what they did to him were nothing short of scandalous.
Yeah, it was
A
ridiculous.
guy with 30 odd years service in boxing media.
Yeah,
Forget how he carries on with his cringiness. I think he's just one of them that gets a little bit excited around it.
playing a character. He's
Yeah, well,
playing.
they all are,
He's a
aren't they? Look
character.
at Rhino. Oh, I'm just like a straight John Bull. I say it as it is, and oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, my. A load of crap.
Mm,
Load of rubbish. But he's created this character now, and he's got to keep it up because,
yeah,
once you tell a lie, you've got to tell another or shut it down. He can't shut it down now. He
yeah.
can't start being Mr. Different, can he?
No,
See where I'm coming from? He's got to
completely agree.
carry off like they start Jack Duckworth if he came back to Coronation Street. He'd have to be Jack Duckworth, wouldn't it? Light-hearted entertainment or Les Battersby. He couldn't come back and start carrying off like Mike Baldwin, could he?
I knew you were going to drop Mike Baldwin there.
Mike with Jack. I remember this guy who I used to look up to years ago from my area, and yeah, I used to idolise him. We had a bit of a do, and we don't really speak now, but. I said to him, "Oh, I went down to his place one day in Baldwin. I said, what you got there?" And he went, "I've gone for Mike Baldwin look, I know it, Jag." Mike Baldwin look from Baldwin's Casuals.
you, you know what, mate? I
What?
met him once at Salford Keys when I was about 17, 18. Sounds cringy now. I had patterns in my hair and I had the rosary beads and all that
Oh,
sort
you
of stuff.
weirdo.
Honestly, mate, cringe. But I've seen him, yeah, and I'm with a group of lads. And now I used to watch Corrie religiously with my nana or my mum. And so I've seen him, and I'm with all these lads, as I say, there's birds wrapped around us. I'm going, what the hell, there's Mike Baldwin. I'm charging up to him in the middle of Salford. Mike Baldwin, can I have a picture? Can I have your autograph? And he flipped me off. He said, "No, mate, leave me alone."
Yeah.
He's about I as well. And it stuck it right on me. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it.
No,
I might have a little bit of a dig at him then about Deirdre, God rest her. But yeah, we move forward anyway.
Okay, so Wilder and Rhino, who you got?
Well, you have to Deontay Wilder. Yeah.
You'd have
He
to
should.
make Wilder a favour, but can he pull trigger? Well, he couldn't pull it against better opposition than Rhino,
I
so
was
he
just
might be
going to
able to
say
pull it
that.
against Rhino. But I mean, if he isolates Rhino early doors, right, Eddie's going to jump out in his seat and go, "Oh, you know, Dave, don't worry, he's still got a fight left with me." Then he's going to be leaving in limo with Wilder to get the Joshua fight. But Wilder's just been took for 70 million in a divorce or something.
I
He's
haven't
just
heard
took
about
half,
that, but I
actually.
heard rumblings about them breaking up.
Oh,
The trouble is with that, like, I mean, I'm just going to ask you a question now, if you
yeah.
don't mind. So, just going back to Fisher. So, when you were working with
Big Ron.
Dennis, yeah. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Matchmaking, it doesn't take like a quote unquote matchmaker to understand skill sets, abilities,
They do
limitations.
all matchmakers do. They do all the phoning and fill all the forms in.
That's
The
it.
promoter signs off on it. So technically, you're just a runaround for the promoter. That's all it is. It doesn't mean
So
you're
it's
anything
Eddie Hearn
special.
then, who's making these matches,
He has Tom Dallas. That's his matchmaker, Tom Dallas.
who's filling his forms in essentially. Like,
Filling
because it
forms
just
in, doing all run. Don't forget, if you're bringing a kid in, right, from the Commonwealth, so say for instance, we've got a Commonwealth title fight and we're fetching somebody in from Nigeria, yeah, he'll have to fly to Manchester, then I go pick him up, and then he has to be took to, Carrington, where Man City train. He'd
Mhm.
have to be took there then for a blood test. So you're going to have to queue there 30, 40 minutes. Blood test, that's 50, 60 quid. Then you'll take him to hotel, and then he'll be weighing next day, all that carry on. Do you know what I mean? That fight day
Right.
after. So that's how it works. But there's a lot more. There's a lot of form filling in and a lot of waiting on emails and mainly visas and stuff like that. Booking hotels, flights. It's a lot of messing about.
Yeah.
A lot of messing about. Yeah.
No,
So.
it's just what I was remarking was just I don't understand. They haven't. You take Fisher for instance, and a lot of the prospects that Hearn gets, they're matched so poorly, like initially, and then the level jump is just crazy. It just doesn't correlate or make any sense. Like, how can you go from an Alan Babbage 1 round blowout, a guy who was spark clean out at Bridgerweight, who's about 5'11", to a 6'3" seasoned Dave Allen, who is notorious for having an unbelievable chin and having a reputable skill set. I don't understand how, like, there has to be accountability. If I was Mark Tibbs or whoever his Fisher's manager is and his family, I'd be saying, like, what's going on here, Mark? Like, where, and I would be really having a look, and I'd be throwing Eddie Hearn under the bus, however which way they can do that, because that just doesn't make sense to me. And it isn't just with Fisher. There's a lot of people that they did it. Josh Kelly, he went life and death with Ray Robinson in America, if you remember, and then they threw him into David Avanesian, who was absolutely smashing people to bits at the time.
Let me just
And he's
stop
a
you there,
nightmare.
Ryan. Let me just stop you there.
Sorry.
What you're forgetting is they got it wrong. They thought Fisher were better than he is, and they thought Rhino was shot to death. That's all it is. They looked at Fraser Clark fight where and must have thought, well, he don't throw anything because he doesn't. He's got no output, Rhino. He's
Yeah.
never going to win on points, is he? Ever because he don't throw anything, does he? Do you know what I mean? So he don't. For me, he don't throw enough. He's a clubber, isn't he? He either flattens you, or
Mm,
he don't pepper you and get on his bike, does he? Like Fisher tried
no.
to do, does he? But the first 4 rounds, Fisher won the first four, didn't he? Again,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But then Rhino, once he walked him down, tired him out and all that. Maybe he picked some up off Usyk because he were making him work, wasn't he, Fisher? He made him work, but he looked a bit edgier this time than last time, Fisher, didn't he?
Yeah. He was scared. He
He was
was
scared,
very,
yeah. And
very.
I think this time, I think he could be finished him now. I mean, you
I
might
do.
see him out again and get absolutely pot. It'd be a good bet for him to get knocked out in next fight. I bet you won't get good odds on it. If you did, you want to take it because he might never get over that. Butte never got over what Froch did to him. I know this is a
No.
different level, right?
Yeah. I get you though. No, you're
Yeah.
bang on. I watched. Did you watch Devin Haney versus Ramirez
Mm.
the other week? And that's kind of like what I expected Fisher, like, just to fight really scared, and obviously again there's level differences there that are through the roof, but
Mm.
that's what I'm expecting. But again, that just goes back to matchmaking and not understanding things. I was just intrigued when after the fight, sorry,
Mm.
as to who it would be who reviews where to go next.
Mm.
I don't know. If you have a look at what they're doing with Italma, it's right. Like, let's put him in with Marius Wack. I know Wack's dreadful, but he's a big 6'7" lump who has been around the European circuit for years, isn't going to throw a great deal, isn't a massive whacker, and isn't known for having a great chin, and he gasses notoriously. Like, step him gradually, and before you're putting him in with someone seasoned who's in the prime of the life, if you will, but isn't going to want to be embarrassed by a 26-year-old rugby player. Like, I don't know, just intrigues me. Sorry.
No problem. Uh, Moses Atome is WBO number one, isn't he now?
Yeah,
Right. Lawrence Okola is WBC number one, yeah?
yeah,
Is Derek Chisora IBF number one?
correct.
Well, Bricktop's got them all in position now, hasn't
Sealed,
he? Right.
signed, sealed.
Who's WBA number one? I know Pooleff's got the regular. I don't know what number one
Yeah.
is. You want to
I
have a quick
guarantee it's Manuel Char. it'd be Manuel
Manuel
Char.
Charles though is it mixed, isn't he?
Yeah, mate, I
Let
seen
me
him like
have a
facing off with
quick look
Joshua
on
the other
it.
day.
Go on. Go
Sorry,
on, yeah, you
okay.
were saying Manuel
Yeah, I seen
Charles
him
though is it
facing
mixed,
off.
isn't
He was facing off with Joshua somewhere the other day. I think he were in Africa, maybe, and they were facing off. And I thought, I guarantee that there's a way to engineer that. There'll be a way to engineer that and sell that to the public.
Well,
And it just doesn't really make much sense. But what do you think about? I know we touched on Akoli being WBC number one after fighting someone for 1 round or 60 seconds in his heavyweight debut. But Atoma being WBO number one. What are
Wardley's
your
number
thoughts?
one with IBF.
Wardley.
No, sorry. Wardley's number one with WBA.
Is
Right,
it?
Fabio Wardley. Let me check on other one. Uh, they usually put all four of them. Yeah. Shizora IBF,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Atoma
Yeah.
WBA, and a Coley WBC. So I look at it like this. People saying we don't really get a title shot, this and that. You might not get it as a final eliminator, but these guys, Derek Chisora, a Coley, Moses Atome, and if Wardley wins this weekend, and Wardley will all be looking for a tick over fight. Now, if you beat them, you might not get moved in for a title short mandatory, but you've actually beat the WBA or the number one
Number
guy
one.
across the board. Either
Yeah.
one of them guys, a Coley, Chisora, Wardley, and Moses Atome. Yui, if he wants a shortcut instead of all this messing about with these substandard journeyman, he should
Mm.
fight one of them four, shouldn't he, really? And put his Senate mix, put his Senate shot winner, roll
Yeah.
the dice. And you are in the mix then, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they'll probably end up fighting somebody like, I don't know, Fraser Clark or some or I don't know, but point I want to make is there's fights out there, but people are picking and choosing. Do they want to just be known as boxers and tick over with a few quid? Or does anybody actually want to win a title?
I think there's that much money floating about as well. I think people do think that okay, all we need to do is sit around, wait around, and you can make a few million quid. Like Dave Allen, if he fights Deontay Wilder, he's copping for he's got to be copping for some serious money.
Get half a mil, won't he, for that fight?
Yeah,
It's
and
not pay per view,
where's
is it?
Dave Allen? Who's never won an English title, warranting that kind of money? Well, that's just the way it is, you know.
Look, when you look at it, think the cold hard light of day, right? Let's strip it back bare. Right, before Dave fought Fisher the first time, everybody said, well, he's a journeyman who's got a bit of a following and he doesn't take it serious. Do we agree on that? Yeah.
Yeah,
So he gets robbed in first fight. They get rematch. He knocks him out. But what has he knocked out? He's knocked out a guy that played rugby at university and took a bit of boxing up. Right. That is it. He's beat a novice guy who was very raw, very raw.
yeah,
Right. And he's a seasoned guy in here, 8 year plus older. So he's
yeah.
beat this novice. And now people have lost their minds because there isn't really any stars in there. Dave's a bit of a star in boxing because he's got a bit of a following, but
Yeah,
people are losing the shit over a novice getting beat because he
that's
looks.
crazy.
But the novice has got a bit of a following. It was technically, when you think about it, and let's not be harsh here, but let's talk the truth. It was a fucking gimmick fight, wasn't it? Really, between a fat dad's son who played a bit of rugby. Oh, he's my friend. I like him. Oh, I can't say anything bad about him. I want to be
Yeah,
everybody's friend. We've got
yeah,
him near Elmer Ford. And then we've got the Rhino there going, well, I've got holes in my clothes. I just want to get a new toilet in my house. And, I'm not taking it that serious and I'm 19 stone. You know, that's what we've all just bought into. And now we've got Rhino on Talksport sat there going on about how many tubs of Tom and Jerry ice cream he eats a day. And
mm,
he's just mugging himself off. He's gone back into Daft Dave mode. So, and I want to see a serious Dave mode. I don't want to see any daftness and stupidness. You know what I mean?
completely agree. Yeah, I
Well,
completely agree.
okay,
Completely
let's
agree.
move on then from the adventures of the White Rhino, who probably never going to get near a gym ever again until they give him a date, where really he should be
Mm,
ticking over now and walking
yeah,
about 17 stone, trying to get that blubber off.
yeah,
Because if
no,
he's
I
in
agree.
ring at 19 stone plus, I bet he's 21 stone now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Uh, okay, he's starting to annoy me again. We need to do something about him.
Who?
Jug ears Oliver. Have you heard him saying Joseph Parker's 30? He's 33 and a half jug ears. You know what I'm like with my OCD. Parker's CV. Julian McGowan, who used to come on here, he thinks Parker's he's had a good run in. It's not bad, is it? But I don't think it warrants the hype, what people are going on about. If you look at his last six fights, I mean, you know he's been in, we don't you? His last
Yeah, I'm not gonna try and say I'm know anything like what Julian does, but how can uh how can he say that he's had a good run in? The China guy Zhang is about 44, 45 maybe.
43 next, isn't it? 43 next. And
Yeah,
then you've got
that's what they say on paper. But
then he had a
then
couple of gimme fights in there, Keenan Opilu.
yeah, they're no good. I don't really understand how he's had a good run.
Wilder's
Uh,
shot to death, isn't he?
yeah. Uh, and he went the distance with Wilder, and then Zhang.
Simon Keane, shocking. You know, Zhang, shocking. Martin Bacoli, 22 and a half stone. I mean, he was having roast crocodile, wasn't he, before they sent a boat
Yeah,
for him into
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Congo. So what I don't know what he was going to do. Billy Nelson, you should hang your head in shame. You greedy manager trainer. People like you and Sam Jones are why boxing's in a fucking mess.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean? But
agree.
Parker's last 6 fights, it don't mean to me he's a roadman. If he's a roadman, call out Lawrence Okoli or Moses Aitoma or Fabio Wardley. Call them out instead of calling out Derek Chisora, the weaker one out of the lot of them, because he's IBF number one, isn't he, Derek Chisora?
Yeah,
Instead of calling out the weak one, who's 42 in a few weeks, call out Lawrence Okoli, Parker, or Moses Atoma. You're not going to do that, are you? Because you're going to listen to Andy Lee. Go to Andy Lee.
yeah.
I mean, so I'm
Well,
not
Parker
buying
won't win
into
them
all this Parker's
fights.
a roadman. I'm not buying into it.
Parker won't beat them guys. Parker won't beat any of them, in my
He won't
opinion.
be a world champion again, Parker, and he was before by default. Let's have it right by
Yeah.
default.
He
So
robbed Andy Ruiz in his backyard, wasn't it? So
yeah.
I agree.
So all right then, mate. Do you want to go to part two?
Yeah, yeah, of course, mate.
Cheers,
I'll
kid. I'll
jump on
see
in
you
a
on
minute.
part two
Cheers,
in
man.
2 minutes. Cheers, mate. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. That was Ryan from Salford. Women love him, men want to go for a pint with him. So that's about it. So we'll see you on part two where we might have to just get in close. Ooh, yaka. Peeing it down. Woo!